So the search for Oklahoma's next offensive coordinator did not take long, and today we need to break down the names you need to know as Brent Venables tabs Seth Latrell and John Finley to be co-offensive coordinators for the Sooners. We need to break down why this is so intriguing, but before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Are you excited with the move that Brent Venables made? Let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below, as those interactions seem small. They are massive to content creators such as myself. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And first and foremost, let's go with what's not surprising in the least, and that is Seth Latrell was tabbed for this job. Seth Latrell has ties to the Oklahoma Sooner, having been a part of that 2000 team. He was born in Oklahoma, and he coached at several different locations as both an offensive coordinator and a head coach. We talk about it all the time. He was at the University of North Texas as a head coach, which gives him ties to some of the most fertile recruiting grounds in the nation. He coached at North Carolina for a little while, which gives him access to the Carolina recruiting grounds, which consistently houses some top-tier playmakers. This right here comes as no surprise to me. Seth Latrell has experience. He has experience as an offensive coordinator, and he's got experience as a head coach. And while the head coaching experience matters little in terms of being an offensive coordinator, it does give him a greater understanding, greater experience than some of your other offensive coordinators may have. And at the end of the day, I do find experience to be a compelling factor in college football. Don't get me wrong, I love some of these young hires because they're like energy. They're energetic to the team. But I don't think you can ever argue with experience if that experience fits what you want to do. And I think personally, that experience fits what Oklahoma wants to do. The other thing I think you have to like about this is both John Finley and Seth Latrell were in the building with Jeff Lebby. That gives them some more clairvoyance into how to continue onto this offense, whether that's vastly changing it or changing a few things here and there, adding their own wrinkles in. It allows them to hit the ground running, in theory, much quicker than if they were just to go a totally different direction. And I don't think Oklahoma has any indication of trying to go a different direction right now. I think the Oklahoma Sooners like the path they're on, and they'd like to continue down that path because Brent Venables has shown a really impressive turnaround from year one to year two. Well, now in year three, a major change is happening. You will no longer be in the Big 12. You will be in the SEC. So doing a move like this, which provides you continuity if you're the Oklahoma Sooners, it does make sense, especially if you can get a Seth Latrell to be your offensive coordinator, someone who has that experience, someone who has the head coaching experience, and has access to really fertile recruiting grounds. But what about John Finley? Because this is the one that both makes sense to me and is a little bit surprising. Let's break both sides of this down. One of the things we do over here on this channel, we try and take as an objective as a look as possible to every conversation we talk about. The part that makes complete sense with John Finley to me is that this guy worked with Jeff Lebby at Ole Miss. This is someone who has been around Lebby. He knows what Lebby wants to do, and he understands what Lebby was doing at Oklahoma. So, in my opinion, it makes complete sense. If you don't want to make massive changes to your offense, you just want to make slight tweaks, keep someone who has an understanding of what Lebby was implementing. That right there makes perfect sense. Plus, he's been effective on the trail, getting a Devon Mitchell, and he understands the roster as it is right now. And whenever you're talking about coaching changes, one of the first things that those new coaches have to do before they can start implementing their offense, they have to understand the personnel they have at their disposal. John Finley understands that. Now, where it was a little bit eyebrow-raising to me is that if I'm looking at the Oklahoma offense, the tight end position was the most lackluster in terms of production. Now, in fairness, it's not John Finley's job to throw the tight end the football or to call plays in which the tight end will get involved, nor is it his fault if there are injuries to that room during the season. Injuries are a part of football, and you can have a great regiment for your group to follow, and because we play a violent game, injuries will occur, which will sideline some of your guys, which will make you a bit more one-dimensional in that room. So even though the Oklahoma tight end production wasn't near where so many people expected, I think there's a lot of reasons we can attribute to that. And I don't think they all fall on John Finley, and I do think that's an interesting conversation to have. Look, At the end of the day, continuity can be a very powerful thing. And yes, sometimes it is good to get a fresh take on something, to get a fresh outlook on something. But you have to remember, Brent Venables is the type of coach that is thorough in his decision making. It's part of the reason why he runs his recruiting process the way he does, where when you commit to Oklahoma, you shut it down. There are no more visits. They're very thorough with what they do. And if Brent Venables feels like this is the manner in which they're going to go, if you're an Oklahoma fan, you've got to put faith in your head guy, because he hasn't steered you wrong yet. The turnaround has been impressive to see, and it has been happening in front of our eyes. You cannot deny it. You've got to put faith in Brent Venables. He looked at this team and he understood that while he could go out there and get someone new, he didn't necessarily need to. He didn't feel like that was a necessity. And at the end of the day, continuity can be massive whenever you already have such big changes on the horizon in moving from the Big 12 to the SEC. So while John Finley was a little bit surprising to me, it does make sense with the continuity with Jeff Lebby's passing schemes, with what Jeff Lebby was wanting to do, and understanding the personnel you have at your disposal. I am interested to see how all of this kind of takes shape, though. Because if I had to imagine, though I haven't seen anything concrete, Seth Latrell will be the play caller. And what I mean when I say how this will kind of shake itself out, I want to give you this scenario right here. Because anytime I hear co-offensive coordinators, my first question is, who's the guy? When I mean who's the guy, the game is on the line. It's 4th and 10. You have one play call to win the game. Who calls the play? Is it John Finley or is it Seth Latrell? Well, personally, I think it's going to be Seth Latrell. That experience he brings to the table, I would be shocked if it wasn't Seth Latrell, but I'm just curious to see how the offensive staff takes shape, what labels are passed around and given to who. It's going to be really interesting to see. And like I said, I'm not sure who will be the guy calling plays, but I think it's pretty safe to assume it will be Seth Latrell. So I'm excited to hear from all of you. I'm excited to see what this looks like, and we'll get a glimpse during the bowl game because Jeff Lebby will not be coaching for the Oklahoma Sooners during that bowl game. So we will not have to wait long to see what this looks like. Hop down in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you like this move. If you dislike this move, let me know the names you wanted to see. That's it. See ya.